I mean, the old communist maxim, let 1,000 exchanges bloom, if Chairman Mao were here this evening.
So, we always think about stuff in such grandiose traditional market ways. I'm looking at something, I invest my money, I own something, it has dividends, I call it a day, maybe I bet on it with some leverage. And instead, we should think about it more of what is the cost to use something for some period of time. Why can't I bid on an Uber ride? I don't understand that. Like, I have a destination I want to go to, why can't I just show a bid that says, I'd be interested in paying this much money for it? Like, for me, I would like to see the experience in any sort of transaction to become more market-oriented and less price-taker-oriented, like we see in a lot of the experiences. So it could be tens of thousands, if not more.
Really turn out the way it should, at least in many areas. I definitely think that the free market will and the sort of innovative, the technology enables innovation and also enables new marketplaces to spring out.
I really do think must be from the market forces. It needs to come from there. I think Oslo Bourse is actually a great example of this. They had, this is way back in when electronic trading was new.
What has started to drive the transformation of this market is the trustworthiness that comes with it. A big part of the success of the crypto markets over the better part of the last 18 or 24 months has a lot to do with the regulation that it was relatively light where it was introduced and brought out, but just the industry helping to get it to a place where it was additive to the trust. I spent some time at the CME and the Treasury options pits, and then at NYMEX and the natural gas options and futures rings. The local was really a mainstay back in the early days of those rings. And when we're talking about hundreds or thousands of exchanges, I don't mean of the same asset, right? I don't think that you're going to have ICE list Uber rides and have to figure out how you're going to source liquidity for Uber on ICE. You're going to have cottage locals that are really participating. They know the market, they know the value, they know that asset class, they know the behaviors of the consumers there. And again, with just the explosion of all the analytics going into the space, whether it's ML, AI, all of the systems of intelligence that are getting integrated into these data platforms, there will be no shortage of insight and activity and reasons to participate in this market from more of a local, old school local style of participation.
The dealer broker platform. So when we reach that magic number, then it sort of grew by itself. So you need to get over that threshold. What this does to clearing is that obviously you can handle clearing in a marketplace that doesn't take off. You can handle that in an Excel sheet almost. So whenever you get enough liquidity, you also get the need for clearing and do the mark-to-market, do the margining, do the calculations, and handle substantial volume. When you do have institutional investors, you have the volumes in there, you only get that if you have clearing on board. So again, it comes back to trust.
The fact that global and local is now kind of the same thing, but finding that audience that is passionate about what it is that you're making available for trading. And then you will find these locals who will help make markets. But as you pointed out, they can be anywhere on the globe. So your audience is so much bigger, and that is just growing and growing. So the kind of liquidity pool or the potential participants is so much bigger now. We just don't know what the next big new thing is. From all these different prospects that I'm talking to on a daily basis, the creativity is just exploding. And it's so exciting to see what's popping up. I mean, recently we read about articles, you trade 8-bit cats with a muffin on top. Why not? We'll see.
I think the next big thing is actually what we do today, but in a different way. I mean, there will be new asset classes, there will be new products traded. Like Eric brought up, we could probably trade Uber or rides, but we are already in the financial markets are so mature. So I think what we'll see as the next step is them moving on to the digital environment and digitizing the products.
I also think that there are some vulnerable incumbents and there are some well-capitalized new companies coming into this space, not just capitalized, but also with the appropriate licenses to make a move. And I think that, the future holds for us some interesting competition, some very different style of competition over the incumbents at the heart of these capital markets. We might finally get a real fintech space. Right now, we kind of just have payment tech. We don't really have much that I would call truly like capital markets deep in the heart of how these capital world really behaves.
We've been looking at the end-to-end digital asset platform. We're here with Baymarkets, Digital Asset and Exberry, who can deliver to you something really, really interesting. We're at KanBan for exchanges, just in days delivery. My goodness, Digital Asset, they can manage to start you settling something after you've downloaded the toolkit in less time than it took you to watch this highly elucidating international live stream. As we look to put our money to work, and ladies and gentlemen, if I may say so, why don't we think about putting our money to work in an exchange as well as just putting it to work on an exchange?